Hey everyone! There has been one thing bothering me about Mario and Luigi Brothership ever since its release. It's Luigi. That's right, I can't stand the green plumber. Maybe it's his self-aggrandizing strokes of logic. Maybe it's his inability to sequence numbers 1 through 25. Maybe it's his shameless flirtations with a Daphne. Or maybe it's just his plain obnoxious dance moves. The ones that make him look like that creepy uncle that everyone avoids at family gatherings. Today, I'll be playing through Brothership aiming to acquire the minimum number of level ups, but I'll be holding my own personal vendetta close to heart. The unavoidable experience points will be claimed only by Mario, while Luigi spends most of his time dead. Pick whichever alliterative challenge name you'd like. Lowly Luigi, Lazy Luigi, Lesser Luigi, Lifeless Luigi, Lackluster Luigi. Regardless, this is a summit challenge for those of us who know that Luigi has been riding Mario's coattails for far too long. I previously completed a minimum level ups challenge in this game, but I chose the equitable approach of distributing level ups between the bros. The end result was levels of 31 and 32. I received multiple comments after that challenge, giving me ideas to improve. But the best method to further decrease level ups is to be inequitable. Since each level up requires an exponentially increasing number of experience points, it's best to let Mario hog all the points, while entirely starving our lesser bro of even a single point. Yes, today, hatred is not only going to feel good, it's also going to lead to a more optimal challenge result. But this isn't just a trivial redistribution of points, the impact of this will reverberate throughout the entire challenge. See, since Luigi will deservedly be stuck at level 1, he'll be even more useless than usual. We'll quickly reach a point where a single hit from anything kills him, and his attacks will do only a single point of damage. Luigi will be a liability in every sense of the word. But just to enable Mario's bros attacks, and to perform Luigi logic in certain battles, we're going to be forced to play with even higher than normal precision to keep this loser alive. It's going to be tough to compensate for Luigi's inadequacy, but we're going to try. The early game got off to a great start. Having already played through the game recently with a low-level constraint, I was feeling fairly warmed up and comfortable with many of the enemies and bosses. I cleared both Garumbla and Goblik on my first tries. Attacking with Luigi was so futile that I mostly demoted him to item duty. That is, healing Mario's HP and BP on each of his turns. On my previous challenge run, timing the counter on Goblik's underground tentacle attack gave me trouble, but this time around, I seem to have grasped the rhythm here. Either that, or I got lucky. It didn't really matter. Mario moved to level 9, and Luigi, of course, was still down at level 1. Now it was time to move on to the battle with 10 on Desolate Island, where some poor counter timing did lead to my first game over of the challenge. Ultra-weak Luigi did provide some value by healing Mario and assisting in his red shell attack, but otherwise, this was a one-bro show. Funnily enough, since Luigi had already reached a point where he inflicted approximately 0 damage and would die in one hit, things weren't going to get any worse than they already were. Of course, other than the enemies becoming more difficult, Mario would carry us through a couple battles on Merry-Go Island, then Limited Luigi would bust out his strongest attack on Lottacoin's Island to damage some Spike Zoc troopers. It was a cute attempt. On my first try against Mega Snapter, lowly Luigi died almost immediately at the start of the battle. It was earlier than I had hoped for, but I elected not to revive the lifeless brother. It all worked out. Mega Snapter just alternated between 3 easily avoidable attacks, while Mario whittled down his health. Turns out, sometimes it was just simpler to not even worry about keeping our mustached liability alive. And just like that, I reached the second Great Lighthouse and the Sharp Cast battle. This should be obvious, but since I'm aiming to minimize Mario's level ups, I'm only engaging in the required battles and bypassing everything else. Unfortunately, this battle is a case where we must keep Luigi alive, as Luigi logic is required to break Sharpcast out of his defensive position, where he heals himself faster than Mario can inflict damage. This battle is long, but at the very least, Sharpcast's moves aren't overly hard to dodge, so with some patience, you'll get to the end and finish him off. And now, Mario, at level 15, was dragging Luigi along through the burning sea. One thing to note is although I did upgrade Mario's gear, I did not provide the same treatment for Luigi. I kept Luigi in the default gear, choosing to maximize his futility. I didn't even feed Luigi a bean throughout the entire playthrough. He didn't deserve nice things. I'd eventually reach Slip and Glide Island, and this is where some of the battles start to get a bit trickier. Here, you need to clear a fleet of Goombas, followed by a fleet of Koopas, defeating at least the final 4 enemies in each fleet simultaneously. The Goomba fleet, with some care, is doable with Mario's Bomb Derby, but the Koopa fleet is a different story. Since Luigi must die, ending the battle with a Bros attack is off the table. To pull this off, you need to whittle the Koopa fleet down to just 4 remaining, with all 4 standing adjacently so that a Kaboom attack can reach all of them. They must all have very low health, and you must set all of this up ensuring you don't accidentally kill one with a counter. Next up was the 3rd Great Lighthouse and Pipe Gunk. Pipe Gunk, similar to Sharpcast before it, is another very long boss battle, and another one where Luigi must stay alive to perform Luigi logic. Otherwise, Pipe Gunk will heal itself faster than Mario can inflict damage. Unlike Sharpcast, some of Pipe Gunk's moves are actually a little tricky to dodge, meaning I used a few healing items during this battle. But the real crux here is delivering the final blow. With Pipe Gunk at very low health, Luigi must move Pipe Gunk back to the normal area, the only area where Mario can damage Pipe Gunk faster than it heals itself. Luigi must die during the following round of attacks. If luck is on your side, Mario will get 1 turn to finish off the battle before Shun moves Pipe Gunk back to ice or magma. To truly minimize experience points, note that if there is only 1 Goomba left in a battle, it seems that it will always flee, giving you 0 experience points for fighting it. The playthrough would really start to deviate from my previous challenge run here. I'd catch a treasure fish, and for what felt like forever, go grinding for 30 Seedle Seeds, making sure to never actually complete a battle. This was all to obtain the Seedleize plug, which viewers of my previous video let me know could be used to save a whole lot of experience points by converting enemies into 1-point Seedles. Something I got right by pure chance last time is that if you head to Twisty before Heat Freeze, you need to complete 2 additional battles. So start with Heat Freeze. Right away, I'd be getting one of the most demanding battles for Seedleize. Here, there are 10 Spinies, all of which you need to convert to Seedles. If any of the 10 turn golden, which happens a lot, you need to restart. Lakitu makes this battle additionally challenging, as he will throw Spinies at you, and any you fail to counter get added to the battle. Even with easy-peasy counters, which will not last forever, the timing of these counters is surprisingly precise. On this attempt, I actually had an 11th Spiny join the battle after a missed counter, but I continued on and managed to complete the battle anyway. This battle was challenging enough that I accepted the 11 experience points, 1 point more than the bare minimum. Something I got wrong on my last challenge run, but right this time, is you don't need to engage in the battles to free Chillium and Bernadette. You can simply ignore them and proceed straight to connecting the island, which I found quite surprising. But first, there is a battle against a fleet of 8 Bob-ombs, and this, without a doubt, is the absolute nastiest battle for Seedleizing. What makes this so challenging is that you have a very short time window to convert as many Bob-ombs to Seedles as possible. If you get to attack first, which is more likely if you wear the getaway gloves, then before self-destructing, each Bob-omb will give you either 1, 2, or 3 turns to attack, I think each having equal probability, and your first attack can spread to a maximum of 5 Bob-ombs. I was confident that there was no way I would convert all 8 Bob-ombs to Seedles, although theoretically, it should be possible, but you would have to stall winning the battle until a Seedle kills Luigi. So what was a reasonable number of Seedles to shoot for? Well, without trying for too long, I hit the literal jackpot. Yep, my opening attack went 5 for 5. How rare is this? Well, I haven't taken any actual measurements, but from my time playing the game, I estimate that an enemy gets Seedleized at a 33% rate, and if this happens, there is a 25% chance that the Seedle will be golden, ruining your attempt. So to get 5 out of 5 plain Seedles, I'd guesstimate the odds to be less than 1 in 1,000. I had a shot here at 7 Seedles, but couldn't get it. Oh well, 6 was still really good. All that was left to lock in 6 was a simple Bob-omb dodge. After that painful mishap, it sunk in just how difficult it is to get 6 Seedles, and I decided I could not settle for anything less. Eventually, I got another opportunity for 6, but it was foiled by having a golden one pop up. Much later, I got another chance, and yep, same story, another gold. It felt like forever, but finally I succeeded in getting 6 Seedles. This battle netted me 362 experience points, meaning I could have shaved off 354 points with a nearly impossible 8 Seedle showing. It's worth noting that even if I had defeated all 8 enemies as Bob-Ombs, it wouldn't have added any level ups to the final game result. But I had some pride, and also wanted to minimize total experience points obtained, so I thought this was a good compromise. Finally, I moved on to Twisty. The remainder of the seedalizing in the game was all straightforward and friendly compared to the rude introduction on Heat Freeze. One thing I learned was to unequip Mario's boots and hammer prior to battle, so he wouldn't accidentally kill something while trying to convert it to a Seedle. Inside Bowser's castle, I skipped a battle with 3 Koopas that I fought on my last challenge run. I was informed by viewers that the battle can be skipped if you avoid backtracking. I reached the battle with Bowser and nearly had him defeated. I just needed one more turn to attack as Mario, which seemed inevitable, especially with not dropping equipped, and the battle would be over. I can't recall ever being hit before by this charge from Bowser, and much to my shock, it just fully removes you from the battle? I got one of the most disappointing and perplexing game overs in all of my time playing Brothership. I had to get back at it and play all the way through until I reached the end of this long battle once again. One thing that I had wondered is if I would gain extra experience points if I defeated any of Bowser's minions during the battle. Although this time around, I did not defeat any of the minions, it appears the answer for this battle, as well as other boss battles, is no. Defeating the smaller enemies does not seem to affect how many points you obtain. Luigi was as much of a liability as ever, and would occasionally require a 1-up mushroom. But nonetheless, keeping him alive was actually useful so he could enable Mario to perform Bros attacks, and so he could replenish Mario's HP and BP. Defeating Bowser meant only one thing, that a battle with Gloam Bowser was right around the corner. I was dreading Gloam Bowser. He was the crux of my previous challenge run, where it was a mighty struggle in the final phase to dodge his attacks while surviving the underfoot Gloam for long enough to kill him. I knew this time would be much worse though. With Luigi still being at level 1, his attacks were totally useless, meaning I could only inflict damage to Bowser at about half the rate. It took many tries before I managed to daze Bowser prior to the Gloam reaching us. But to my amazement, Lazy Luigi's speed rating is so low that Bowser recovered before Luigi ever got a chance to execute Luigi logic. At this point, I was struggling to see how on earth I was going to manage this battle with such a useless Luigi. And that's when I remembered a comment left by a viewer of my previous video. The comment outlined an approach of not executing the second Luigi logic, which is what triggers Bowser's final phase with his more difficult to dodge attacks, and instead, fighting out the rest of the battle in the pool of Gloam. I did revive Luigi once after the Gloam took him out, but shortly after, the Gloam took him out again, and it became obvious that letdown Luigi was going to have to sit this battle out. So, the rest of the battle was going to be a solo effort for Mario, never having ended Phase 1 and standing in the Gloam from here on out. This approach actually worked surprisingly well. Bowser would alternate between only 2 attacks, neither of which were particularly difficult to dodge. The airship would occasionally fire at me, giving me a chance to inflict damage via counters. I honestly found the Zoc Troopers to be the most challenging thing to dodge, but once I killed them all via counters, no more spawned. My defensive battle plugs helped keep me afloat here, but when ones such as Auto Mushroom, Damage Shield, and Not Droppin' ran out, I chose to play super conservative. Even though the Gloam would take away less than half my health by the time my turn came around, I chose to heal myself, so I'd have some margin for error if Bowser damaged me. I still got to make some progress during this time by countering the cannonballs from the airship. Note that I tried to use Boo Biscuits to recharge my plugs, but they were actually unavailable during this part of the battle. Once my plugs did finally recharge, I was back to being able to attack on every single turn. This entire battle took a whopping hour and 15 minutes. Slowly but surely, I grinded the whole thing out until Bowser was no more. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. It'll really help the channel out. With Mario at level 25 and Luigi still in the basement, I reached the part of the challenge I was most uncertain about, the Great Conductor Battle. According to Super Mario Wiki, this boss has 3600 HP, and I verified that on my previous challenge run, the battle did indeed end when I crossed the 3600 damage threshold. So, with lethargic Luigi in tow, would I be able to inflict this much damage before the Great Conductor killed us? I gave it a try, and wasn't even close. What to do then? The key in getting past this battle is this innocent-looking counter that you can perform in the battle's first phase. You need to do as little damage as possible to the caps. A good strategy is to intentionally take damage so you can heal yourself on your turns, and keep this phase going for long enough to rack up some real damage on the Great Conductor. My greatest fear was that this would be the battle where lackadaisical Luigi had to receive some undeserved level ups, but I wasn't ready to give up hope just yet. I spent a staggering amount of time in the first phase performing counters, going through about 60 full cycles, until I inflicted the full 3600 points of damage. My hope was that if I was able to end the battle here while Luigi was captured, perhaps all the experience points would go to Mario. Devastatingly, this did not work, and the battle did not end until I performed an excellent Bros attack. This victory brought Mario to level 27, and as for Lesser Luigi, it gifted him more than a few level ups. Oh my goodness. Please, Luigi, the creepy dance moves just aren't necessary. Please restrain yourself. And it just keeps going. This is a disaster. Is there going to be an end to this? What a travesty. There wouldn't be another required battle until the extension core, and even at level 17, lame Luigi was still utterly useless. The only thing that is a bit tricky about this battle is making sure you survive the final explosion. My plan was to wait until the extension core activated their invincibility plug, then I'd equip Protectus on my next turn. Well, as it turns out, Mario's health got decimated from my poor dodging, and that next turn never came around. But emergency guarding, damage shield, Zocketware, and Connie's mittens, all taken together, were actually enough to just barely keep Mario alive. The battle with Zocket is fairly long and has some tricky moves to dodge, but what helps at this point in the game is the wide assortment of battle plugs at your disposal. I used Wait a Minute early on in the battle to launch 3 additional bomb derbies on Zocket. I used Countdown to Crush for some free damage, and used an assortment of defensive and healing plugs to keep lackluster Luigi alive. There was this interesting spot in the middle of the battle when Zocket performed 100 million finger attacks, and paradoxically, only Luigi survived. I now had to do the unthinkable. I actually had to ask Luigi to do something useful. Could he survive for long enough to revive Mario? This was asking a lot, I know. Lightweight Luigi barely pulled through and set up the victory for Mario. I would proceed through some more obligatory battles, producing Seedles whenever possible, leading up to the showdown with Reclusa at the Solitary. One thing that made my life easier on this challenge run than my previous challenge run was unequipping Mario's wear and equipping the getaway gloves when I was in enemy-dense areas. Yes, this made Mario die quickly, but also gave me a turn to flee much earlier in each battle. Overall, it was a big time saver. In the Solitary's first required battle, wait for the Seed Lusa to self-destruct. Winning the battle this way gives you 0 experience points. In the next battle, you do need to convert a Reclusive into a Seedle, but then it's the same procedure. Wait for the Seed Lusa to self-destruct, and you'll only gain 1 point from this battle. A viewer from my previous video gave me the brilliant idea to use a double-edged weapon, which inflicts some damage back to you when attacking, to kill loathsome Luigi during the Reclusa battle. I tested it out, and to my great disappointment, you cannot drain your last health point with this method. I guess it's for the best. I had only bought the double-edged hammer, and turns out, lethargic Luigi cannot hit something floating 6 inches off the ground with it. This means Mario finished the battle with Luigi alive once again, resulting in another avalanche of undeserved level ups. Whatever you're thinking, Luigi, we don't need to know. In the final Reclusa battle, I made sure to keep some good Bros attacks unanalyzed for the final phase. I used Conductor Connector, along with the Wait a Minute plug, to plow most of the way to the end. Is my hatred for Luigi unfounded? Have I been too harsh on him? Maybe so. I decided he had been through enough. With Reclusa hanging on to just a sliver of health, Luigi's turn came up, and it was time for him to end the challenge and finally claim some glory. Or maybe not. Luigi was just as lousy as ever, and we would have to wait until Mario's turn came around for the challenge to actually end. Mario was at level 34, with Luigi having weaseled all the way up to level 25. If I didn't overlook anything, that means without glitches, the minimum number of level ups possible is 57. I obtained a combined 183,324 experience points. If you subtract out the 355 unnecessary points from Heat Freeze, that gives a minimum of 182,969. If you enjoyed the Lifeless Luigi challenge, please be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.